Hello there and welcome to the official NoN-eSports YouTube channel. I am Kadoink and today I have spawning in the bottom left of Antigua Shipyard, the blue Terran player representing Team NoN-eSports. He is ForsakeNXE, and his opponent up in the top right of Antigua Shipyard is CommanderS as the red Zerg player. I am happy to announce that I am back in Kansas starting my 4th semester in college, which is very exciting. A lot of fun classes that I will be taking this semester. And yeah, I can finally get back to casting some StarCraft 2. I had about maybe 5 to 6 weeks off, something like that, something along those lines. Yeah, it was just winter break. I spent some time at my grandma's house, and then I also spent some time in Nashville, where I am from. Got to see family and friends, all that. It was very exciting, and I had a great time. So I hope all of you had very, very good holidays, be it Christmas or whatever, and a Happy New Year. And 2013 is looking like it's going to be very, very exciting for StarCraft 2. I'm super pumped for Heart of the Swarm. Not yet pre-ordered that because I still really want to get into Master League and Wings of Liberty before I am tempted to play the beta for Heart of the Swarm. So what I'm going to do is, in the next week or two, try to play as hard as I can and see if maybe I can get into the Master League. And then once I do, I will be picking up Heart of the Swarm and using that handy-dandy replay function to be able to co-cast with people and hopefully get better frame rate, all these various things. Yeah, I'm very excited for 2013. I think it's going to be absolutely great. So in the meantime, we have CommanderS going for hatch first, completely usual, especially in ZVT. Not surprised there at all. He'll be putting down a spawning pool, and then most likely a gas geyser and getting up his Zergling speed. And we'll see what he does after that. That'll be the big time when he can choose. Is he going to be going for Banelings? He might be going for some sort of roach play. Something that I've seen on the ladder quite a bit. I do a little bit of early aggression now, and so I think Zerg players are kind of catching on to my build, and they're choosing to get the roaches so they can hold off that aggression a lot easier. Looks like Forsaken, usual thing. Second barracks on the low ground, per usual. He's walling off. Very, very normal stuff. Going to be sending a Marine across the map. Oh no, actually it looks like he's just going to stop right there. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pop up at this watchtower just for a bit. See when the first few lings walk out. We can see that Forsaken has not actually done any scouting, so he has no idea where his opponent is. Well, he sent his SCV, but he has not yet found his opponent, and he'll find him next. An Overlord being shot at. I don't think it's going to go down. I think he can make it out of here, actually. One Marine shouldn't be able to kill this. Nope. Little Overlord got away. Poor Marine. Just, he can see it in sight, but just cannot shoot it. Way out of range. But that's alright. He's putting a little bit of pressure on, and he's saying, hey, I know you have an Overlord here, so don't try to send it into my base or I'll shoot him down. Bit of a wall going down in the front, which is actually very interesting. Putting down 2 more barracks. Wouldn't be surprised to see a bunker and some depots, or maybe even 2 more barracks to complete the wall off. We'll have to see what Forsaken decides to do. Back in the Zerg base, however, we see that there's not yet a Vespene Geyser. He might be deciding to get a very, very fast third base. So the tech is going to be a little bit slower for CommanderS, but he is definitely going to be ahead economically on 3 bases. And nope, as soon as I start talking about that, we do see the extractor going down. So, yeah, still wouldn't be surprised to see a third base, though. However, Zerg players taking thirds very, very quickly against Terran. And it looks like some Marines poking up and running away. 4 Marines going to be able to deal with that just fine, especially because they are slow lings. And actually a little bit of blunder by CommanderS, just kind of letting his Zerglings get killed there. And now the Marines are going to be able to go forward, take map control, take control of this Xel'Naga watchtower, and just keep playing the game from there. You really want control of the map so you can see when any kind of aggression is going to come. And here we do have the third base going down at about the 545, 550 mark. Pretty usual timing. I think that this is a good choice. Like I said, it's very common for Zerg players to get a third base against Terran, and against Protoss actually, so not too surprising there. And I'm actually quite pleased to see that CommanderS is going to be going for an economically focused game. Back in Forsaken's base, we see that he did do a depot, but he, instead of the bunker, decided to get an engineering bay, a fine choice, pretty cheap building, and he can start getting his upgrades, working on +1 at this time. Just doing a bit of overlord scouting on the side of the map. He's got his double gas in his main, but only 2 workers in each, so kind of an interesting thing. He's going to be going for those upgrades, but I don't think he wants to tech too quickly. He's going to stick to a primarily Marine heavy force. We do see he's just exclusively pumping out Marines and getting that combat shields up, so definitely Marine focused. Wouldn't be surprised to see Marauders. That's something that Forsaken does very commonly. He goes for kind of a bio mix, but no, looks like he doesn't want to do any aggression as he is getting up another command center. So taking a fast third of his own as well. Getting that reactor, on that barrack so he can pump out even more Marines. In fact, he's getting 2 of them in total. So yeah, both players going for a very economically focused game, and I'll be interested to see how the late game pans out for each of their players. Will we get to Broodlord Infestor, or will we not get to Broodlord Infestor? We'll have to see. We have a layer coming up at this time, just about 75% of the way there, almost. Zergling speed just now finishing, and he's of course got this Baneling nest coming up at this time. So let's look at the unit count and see how many drones. 39 drones to 37, so CommanderS is doing a great job at droning up, but I would like to see a bit more. I think, I don't know, 37 actually to me seems surprising on 3 base. He can produce, oh my goodness, there's a drop happening here. A lot of damage going down. Maybe some of the drones were killed. I'm not sure. This is doing a huge amount of damage, almost killing the hatchery. He does manage to pick off a queen, and if we look at the units lost tab, definitely in Forsaken's favor. So sorry I didn't spot that on the mini map. Just getting back to casting after a 5-month little break, so have to get used to some things. Interestingly, we see a Spire. Wow, Zerg players very commonly going for Infestors in the TvZ matchup, and in fact in most matchups, but Spire is going to be a very interesting choice because Forsaken is actually going very heavily on the Marines, and he doesn't really have siege tanks on the way. He doesn't have a tech lab on his factory. In fact, he's just going to be switching out a starport with a reactor, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him not get any tanks at all, which will be terrible for CommanderS because tanks are really good against Infestors, and tanks are really good against Banelings, but Marauders are also good against Banelings if you have good micro and good splitting, which Forsaken certainly does. So Mutas is not actually going to be a great choice here. Marine's going to be able to pick them off very quickly, and I think that Forsaken is actually in a great position. So we do see a couple of Marauders in the mix, as well as a large number of Marines. He's going to be pumping out those medevacs 2 at a time, and look at this. Holy barracks, so many in total, I think. I'm not even going to try to count. Going to wait for Heart of the Swarm for that so I can see the structures tab. But a good amount of barracks, a good amount of production, and he can afford it because he's going to be taking his 3rd very shortly. In fact, he already has it floated over, just have to kill this pesky Overlord. Oh man, so many Terran players know the woe of having an Overlord just spreading creep on your base. So annoying. But he will land it, and he will just be fine economically. We can see with Mules he is fairly even with CommanderS, actually passing ahead every now and then, just depending on when the Mules die and when they land, things like that. And now that the 3rd is up, of course his economy is going to go up. So we have 6 Mutas popping out at this time, 17 Banelings. It looks like CommanderS wants to be doing a little bit of damage. We can see he's at 61 drones, which is a pretty reasonable number. You usually want to hit about 60, 70, and that's when you want to start pumping out your army and going for an engagement. Baneling's speed, as you can see, is finished. We have the Terran player moving forward, splitting his Marines so well. The Baneling's not getting very good contact at all, and in fact a lot of Marines are left over to deal with this Mutalist force. He is going to have to pull them away, as well as that Queen, doing a little bit of scanning to pick off as many creep tumors as he can. And, this is a bad engagement for CommanderS. Do not want to be flying your Mutalisk into packs of Marines. This Queen going down very quickly. Another Mutalisk as well. And Forsaken just doing tons of damage here, killing a lot of Zerglings. More Mutalisks coming in at this time, but the Zerglings are just evaporating, and the Mutalisks... man, this is very cost inefficient for CommanderS. The Marines are going to be picked off by this last remaining group of Zerglings. Unless, of course, Forsaken just lifts off and runs away after killing the last Mutalisk. So, very poor engagement for CommanderS. You can see that the resources lost is about doubled. Definitely in Forsaken's favor. He's looking very, very good in this position. +2 coming out for both players. We have some turrets going up for Forsaken, probably in his main, yes, as well as his third, to make sure that those Mutalisks can't swing in and do damage while Forsaken is in some position across the map. And he's just rebuilding his force. He's got a good number of medevacs as well as a lot of Marines. You can see in the units tab he's sitting at 27 Marines, 7 medevacs. Nice number, especially considering there are only 42 Lings on the map. And 7 Mutalisks, both of which very, very bad against a Marine-heavy army. Concussive Shell coming out at this time. That's going to slow down the Banelings a little bit. More Banelings morphing as Forsaken moves across the map. Going to be trying to deny this 4th base, as he really does not want commanders to get that up. Zerglings coming in at this time. We have a lot of Banelings as well. Banelings hitting a little clump of Marines to the right. Will they be able to do damage to the bulk of Forsaken's army, though? That is the question. Forsaken forgetting to drop some of these Marines in his medevac. Banelings coming forward. Not really doing the damage they need. Once again, really good splitting coming from Forsaken, and he minimizes damage as much as possible. Medevac's actually going down here, which is pretty good for commanders. He is going to have to float those away, and this is the danger of going Marine medevac against Mutalisks. If you do lose your army, the Mutas can kill all your medevacs like that. But a huge clump of Marines kind of flanking the Mutalisks and forcing them to take an alternative route. The Banelings are once again gone, and I do not think he has any more. No, he does not. He's going to have to deal with this army with pure Zerglings. Scan going down. He is doing some splitting, which he does not need to do in this situation because there are no Banelings. And he is going to pick off that little Marine force. So, Commander's holding on and getting that 4th base up, morphing in some more Banelings. He's actually looking pretty good. If we look at the units lost, he's kind of closed that that big margin that was there earlier. So some great engagements for Commanders, picking off those medevacs, picking off those clumps of Marines. And now Forsaken is going to have to regroup. He's going to have to rebuild his medevacs, continue to get Marines and Marauders, and I'd like to see some more Marauders in the mix. They're going to do well against these Banelings. He can keep them in the front. Ooh, and it looks like CommanderS is going to be the one doing the aggression this time, as he is moving a little bit forward. Creep spread a little poor at this time, partly due to the fact that Forsaken has been so aggressive. Sorry about the mouse movement. So aggressive, and so CommanderS wasn't able to spread that creep. He is going to be moving forward at this time. A huge number of Banelings. Incredible splits going on for Forsaken. Is he going to be able to survive this, though? The sheer number of Banelings is going to make that very hard. But some Banelings running into Marauders, which is so bad, and a clump of Marines up at the top did survive. So they will move forward, try to pick off these Mutalisks, and the Zerglings shall shortly fall with them. And yeah, Forsaken holding that very nicely. Most players probably would have lost their army had they kept them clumped up like that, but Forsaken just splitting so well is going to survive that fight and probably go in for another attack. I think that was pretty inefficient. Yeah, completely inefficient for CommanderS. Great position for Forsaken at this time, moving forward once again with his Marines and his Marauders. A little bit of a smaller clump this time, but his ratio might be a bit better if he can get those Banelings up in, those Marauders up in the front, and get CommanderS to hit him with his Banelings. Moving forward, the Banelings coming in at this time. He is pulling the Marines back so good. All the Banelings landing on Marauders, which is not what you want in this kind of engagement. Marines splitting even further just to make sure. And wow, Forsaken in a great position, moving down to try to deny this 4th as much as possible. The drones will have to retreat. A scanning going down to pick off more tumors and to see if any Banelings are burrowed or anything like that. Forsaken, he's going to be able to take out this 4th, no problem. And then economically, Forsaken's going to be feeling great. 3-base to 3-base against Zerg is exactly what you want. You definitely don't want him to have a 4th base, and a gold one at that. Some Marines and some Mutalisks moving in at this time. We have Banelings flowing in, but at this point, Forsaken might just be able to pick them off. Yeah, look at that. He doesn't even have to split. They aren't even able to get to the army because the damage output from Forsaken is so great. Stemming forward once again, we can see that his army is actually really well healed up thanks to that large number of medevacs. Picking off some more creep tumors, killing these overlords, and these Banelings aren't even going to be able to finish morphing, and I think this is game. CommanderS doesn't really have an answer to this. We have the Marines moving up into the 3rd, some Zerglings streaming in at this time, trying to get a little bit of a surround, but the Marines are just doing so much damage. A Manor Mule going down at this time, just one. And he's going to be moving up into that natural and probably destroying it very promptly. A Baneling morphing right in front of a clump of Marines, and I think that's basically game. We can see that in the units tab there is just 5 Mutalisks left, and they're not going to be able to pick off this Marine force, especially with this large amount of medevacs. Some Swarmlings coming in, Broodlings, excuse me. Drones moving to the natural, and yeah, this is definitely game. He can kill this army if he wants, but Forsaken is taking a 4th behind this. Bailing's streaming in at this time, a good number of them actually. But once again, Great Splits is going to prevent this from doing anything. And that's GG. Well played. Congratulations, Forsaken, for a great game. Thank you for sending me this replay. You sent me a few more. I'm excited to cast the TVT that you sent me, as I do really love TVTs. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this cast. It's the first one in a while, about 5 weeks, so I'm going to be getting back into the groove of things. This semester I should actually have a lot more time than last semester, hopefully. Knock on wood, we'll see about that. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the NoN-eSports YouTube channel. That helps us out a lot. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also post some comments, like the video, share it with your friends, do all that sort of thing. Post it on your Facebook wall, post it on Twitter. And also check out our NoN-eSports website. It's a great website. It is in German. Just pop it up on Google Chrome. If you do not speak German, you can hit that translate button, and you can see what's going on. A lot of exciting things are happening with our Dota 2 team currently. So if you're a Dota fan, check that out. I would love to see some Dota being cast on the YouTube channel. I do not own Dota 2, and I've never played it. But if Leagueists ask me, I might dabble in it and take a look at Dota 2 and maybe cast some games there too. But don't worry about it. My heart is always and forever with StarCraft 2. Very excited for Heart of the Swarm. Very excited to be casting more for you this semester. Thanks a lot for watching.